Good morning and welcome to A View from the House. My name is Mkokeli Tanda. Parliament's Standing Committee on Public Accounts is concerned about the huge amounts being allocated for consultancy fees in some departments. The chairperson of that committee, also known as Scopa, will join us in the studio to tell us why. We will also be joined by the Minister of Trade and Industry, Dr. Rob Davis, to talk to us about the envisaged special economic zones, and if we still have time, we'll listen to some member statements. Several government departments, including the Treasury, are to spend almost 2 billion rands in the next financial year on consultancy fees. This despite the 2009 austerity measures introduced by Finance Minister Themba Godi. According to estimates of expenditure for 2012-2013 tabled in Parliament last week, the Department of Correctional Services has the highest allocation of 417 million rands for consultancy fees. The Department of Land Reform has set aside more than 314 million rands to pay consultants due to the need to expedite restitution claims and the evaluation of land. The Department of Defense and Military Veterans is to increase its spending on consultants to more than 219 million rands by 2014. The Treasury itself has budgeted 218 million to procure consultancy and professional services. To talk to us about government's expenditure on consultants and some critical oversight business expected to come before Parliament's Watchdog Committee on Public Accounts, we are now joined by the chairperson, Mr. Themba Godi. Good morning and welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Godi, you seem to be unhappy with the amount of money set aside for consultancy fees in various government departments over the next financial year. Why are you so concerned when there is a need for services rendered by consultants?
Well, in the first instance, we are not naive to expect that there will never be need for consultants to be used. However, we're saying that it should not become a norm. You'll recall that during the 2010 State of the Nation address, the issue of the use of consultants in government was raised, and the President committed to ensuring that there is a review and a downscaling, a massive downscaling thereto. We are also expecting a report from the Auditor General, a performance audit on the use of consultants in government very soon, which will give us a comprehensive sense of what is there. But fundamentally, as a committee, we've always said we must develop capacity within the state. We don't want the use of consultants to be mainstreamed in the same way as labor brokers have been, within government.
Mr. Godi, I know that land is a matter very close to your heart, and the Department of Land Reform has set aside 314 million to pay consultants due to the need to expedite restitution claims and evaluation of land. Is this not necessary, taking into consideration the sensitivity of this matter and the need to speed up the process?
Well, fact of the matter is that this could have been, prevented. We should not have been where we are now, because we have this scandalous situation where since the closure of submission of land restitution claims in 1998 to date, as we're talking, the department cannot tell you how many claims have been lodged, how many are at which state, and all those things have everything to do with the fact that the department since then has not been run effectively and efficiently, and had not put systems in place to ensure that proper work is done. So we are now given an emergency, not because objectively things could not have been done otherwise, but because subjectively people have neglected to do their work properly.
There seems to be a great shortage of people with technical expertise in some departments and also in struggling municipalities. Does that not justify the need to employ the services of consultants?
Well, you'll recall that once again, I think in the 2010 State of the Nation address, the President spoke to the need to fill in vacancies in government. And the challenge that you have where consultants have to be used, because people have not employed the necessary people, or in worst cases, people have been employed who have no skills, and then consultants have to be, their service have to be employed, and yet we have people who are already employed. So I think that the fundamental challenge remains that government departments must fill critical posts with qualified people, in the first instance. I mean, we have a case here of one department, I think it's COCTA, where the internal audit is almost non-existent. And those 3 or 4 people in that unit have to probe through transactions amounting to 419 million, which are deemed to be irregular. Now, clearly, those people have no capacity. So now they have employed consultants. So they will say, look, we have no capacity. But why is there no capacity in the first instance?
Is this a matter that you intend raising with Treasury?
Well, we are seeking to institutionalize our quarterly meetings with Treasury. And those meetings are intended to, at all times, look at how far our government departments generally, how far are they in implementing the PFMA and Treasury regulations. And so some of these issues are issues that we will take up. We have already, last year, taken up the issue of where do we put audit committees, where do we put internal audits, as part and parcel of our process of saying how do we tighten and strengthen state administration.
Mr. Godi, our time is running out. In his budget speech, Minister Godin said he and the Minister of Public Works had agreed to undertake a joint review of the validity and cost effectiveness of all government property leases. That was something that was also of great concern to your committee. Are you still pursuing that matter with the department?
Indeed, in our last hearing, we got confirmation from the minister that almost all leases are going to be reviewed. We welcome that. We support that. It is correct. The state is losing a lot of money unnecessarily. So it is only correct that we don't only review the Rushabangu deal, but we look at the rot, the totality of it, because clearly the Department of Public Works is in great trouble, and it was easy for people to do whatever they needed to do. So if we're going to clean up, it does mean that we need to look at almost everything. So we think it is the correct step.
Yesterday, in a statement, Mr. Dion George of the DA said he is to bring another matter to your committee. He says an answer to a parliamentary question has revealed that a Home Affairs lease deal that will benefit Parliament's Finance Committee Chairperson Thaba Mufamadi is 57% more expensive per square meter than the contract for the department's previous building. Over the 8-year lease period, government will pay 60 million more to do business with Mr. Mufamadi's company, Manaka Property Investments, compared to its previous lease agreement. The total value of that contract is 265.5 million. Has Mr. George been in contact with you in this regard?
Well, yes, indeed. I have received a letter from Dr. George, and to stress that Dr. George is a member of Scopa, subsequent to the recent reshuffle in his party. So as a member of the committee, he has a right to raise any issue that is relevant to our work, and I think we'll apply our minds and see how we respond to his request.
Briefly, our time is running out. What other matters do you have on your agenda for Scopa, at least for the first term?
Well, today we're having a hearing with the Department of Health and 2 of its entities. Next week, we're having the Department of Transport, the Road Traffic Management Corporation. We'll also have Transnet before we go on recess. And I think 2 sitters, the public sitter as well as the service sitter, we know the problems that are there with the sitters. So this is what will constitute our work for the remainder of this term.
May I ask the last question, Mr. Godi? You have raised some concern about the state of affairs in some departments that your committee, Scopa, have met earlier this year. Can you share your concerns with our viewers?
Well, 2 things to it. The first one, it's a concern around continuity. I mean, if you look at Public Works, COCTA, Land Affairs, you get a sense that we're starting from scratch because you have new people. And if you have new people all the time, there is no institutional memory, there's no continuity. You can't build institutions, on short-termism. But the flip side to it, which we're happy about, was the commitment from the political leadership. I think I found that a bit on the exceptional side, the kind of commitment that they showed in trying to get things right. I think if we can have that generally throughout government, then we'll be able to, to sort out the mess that is there.
The Chairperson of Parliament's Watchdog Committee on Public Accounts, Mr. Themba Godi, We've run out of time. Thank you very much for coming through. We appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you.